John Fluke, welcome to Permastoked. How's it going, dude?
Thanks. Not bad at all. Thank you from the East Coast.
Nice. It's good to have you. Talking to you from Nova Scotia. So whereabouts in Nova Scotia are you, John?
Well, I live in Cole Harbor. Claim to fame, I always say, is my paper boy was Sidney Crosby when he was young.
Oh, wow.
Just lives up the street. Or his parents live up the street.
Wow, that's a pretty cool sort of Canadian moment for you. Wow.
Yeah, but I got about 10 breaks within about 15-minute drive of my house too. So
Wow. So did you ever get Sidney Crosby out on a surfboard?
No. I don't think now they'll let him go out on the surfboard for insurance reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have to wait till retirement till he gets on a surfboard.
That's right.
So have you been out surfing lately in Nova Scotia?
Last time I was out in January. I haven't been out yet in February.
Okay. So what's the weather like out there this time of year for you guys?
Well, today we've had freezing rain. Now it's supposed to go up to 8 above, and by Friday we're supposed to have snow again. But the water temperature right now is about 1, if that, and the air is about -3 or 4. So it's a little nippy.
Okay.
But the swells are getting a little bit better now too.
Nice. So everybody, we're talking to John Fluke. Now, John, tell us about your history with surfing. You have involvement with CSA Surf Canada, correct?
That's correct. I ran Surf Canada from about 2005 to 2010 when Dom took it over. No, 2011. Dom took it over in 2011.
Okay, so for anyone wondering what the heck is Surf Canada, maybe you can tell them that as well.
Well, Surf Canada was the Canadian body for surfing, any type of surfing in Canada, be it river surf, lake surfing, East Coast and West Coast, but also we were a member of the International Surfing Association, and they had annual contests and meetings every year, and they were pretty well all over the world. And first contest that I went to with Nico Manis and a bunch of the other ones from Nova Scotia was the Huntington contest for the seniors.
Oh,
and,
wow.
When we were in California, we ended up staying at Robert August's house for a day and a half. And then we ended up staying with a lady who runs a surf museum in Huntington Beach. She let us use her townhouse in Huntington, right down the wharf area.
Okay.
So we got to surf trussels and that. And after that, I went to Portugal twice. I went to Peru and New Zealand with the Canadian team.
Wow. So Surf Canada got you bouncing around the world a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I was being the president. You had to go and make an appearance at these meetings and that. But I says, the first couple times we went, Canada was looked as the funny child. No one surfs up north. And when I started, we were in the mid-30s. And when I left, we were in the high teens. And now Dom has moved it into the single digits, I think, from last conversation I had with them.
Wow.
So that, and it was funny because at the end of the contest, everybody wanted to trade uniforms, and the Canadian uniform was so highly sought after one because who would surf in Canada and the big maple leaf on the shirt or on the hoodie or something, eh?
Yeah. And those shirts are highly coveted because Surf Canada doesn't have a shop or anything. So
no.
Yeah.
And it was good because when I ran Surf Canada, we ended up getting corporate sponsors involved in it. And at that time, we had Mazda, we had Air Canada involved, we had Tourism Nova Scotia here involved in it. And the government in Nova Scotia and the universities down here realized that this was a good selling point because now they use it. How many advertisements you see around the world where you see Surfing Nova Scotia in there? They're surfing in Nova Scotia.
Not very often.
Or in downtown Montreal, there's a big billboard there where it had come to Nova Scotia, do your degree. One of the universities had a guy stand there with the surfboard.
Oh, really? Cool.
So, advertisement.
Yeah. So when you stepped into the position of president at Surf Canada, what year was that?
That would have been 2005.
2005. So what had Surf Canada been or looked like up until that point?
Well, prior to that, it was people that went to the Worlds and the juniors and that. It wasn't the best surfers. It was who had the money.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then for a while, when we'd go to the ISA, and it was becoming expensive because they wanted it all over the world, eh? You don't have it in California. No, they wanted to go to Europe. And like I said, I was interested in surfing in Portugal. I surfing down under in New Zealand and that. But it was it got to the point where, it was corporate and you had to get corporations involved to help. And that's with the corporations. When I got the corporations involved, we were able to send out the kids that could afford it. There was a lot of kids that couldn't afford it, especially younger, the juniors, because the junior was going to be held every year. The seniors was every 2 years.
Okay.
So you stop and you figure a flight and lodging for 2 weeks, because that's what the tournaments were. They were 2-week tournaments. And then it was expensive. So with corporations like Mazda, Air Canada, and Tourism Nova Scotia, there was funds there that down the East Coast, what we did for the junior team, we divided the team in half. Half went to the West Coast for spots, and half went to the East Coast for spots. And then what we did was on the East Coast, we had contests, and we ran the Nor'easter down at White Point. That was always Easter. That was around that air time. It was a good weekend for everybody from the East Coast, or from Halifax area, to go down to the South Shore and just party. That's what it was. It was a glorified party, but it was a great time. But we had a great contest. It was in spring or like late winter contest. Then we had a big one in the summer, the Nor'easter, the September Storm. And that was one of the biggest contests in Canada for a long time. And at one year we did run one Boxing Day.
Oh, wow.
So they called it the Chili Willy, and it was only run 1 year, but it was one of the best contests we had here.
Amazing.
Ran it on Boxing Day, and I think they had about 40 surfers in it.
Wow.
And that.
So back then, you're saying that they would send 8 surfers from the East Coast and the West Coast to the
what it was on the junior team, there was 2 boys, or what was it? 216, 218. So it'd be 4 spots. So 2 East Coast, 2 West Coast for each spot. And then on the girls, there was 4 spots. So we split it. Girls, there was only one class, and girls under 18. Now on the senior team, it was we had 4 openings for men's opening. We had 2 for the women's, and we had 1 longboard and 1 bodyboard.
Oh, okay.
So that's how the team was comprised. So what we would do is we try to divide the team between the East and the West. And like I said, when we ran the contest, we'd start in the spring. The spring contest would be the first contest, and we did it in point system. So if you came first in the spring one and came second or third in the fall one, but you had enough points, you ended up being selected for the team. And that's how we did. It wasn't, you can't go because you don't have money. We had the money, and that was the whole idea. I wanted the best surfers that Canada could produce. I wouldn't call them country of passport, convenience of passport. My parents are Canadian, but I live down in the Caribbean, or I live in South America, and I surf year round. Well, I'd rather have a Canadian that lives in Canada to go to events, represent Canada and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the whole idea, and that's how we got the teams going. And like I said, every year we had full teams going to all the different contests and that. And like I said, it got to the point where even the corporations that were sponsoring, not here in Canada, but the World's was Billabong sponsored one, which was the World. So that was a lot of money that they put up every year for that contest. And Quicksilver did the World Juniors. Now, I don't know who sponsored the contest, but also at that time, with the annual meetings at the IASA, we were working at getting surfing into the Olympic sports. So we're one of the founding groups or pushed for it. And then Dom and them continued it on.
So you were part of some of those early discussions.
Early discussions with Fernando and all that.
So how do you feel about seeing where that's come, and now it's actually coming to fruition?
It's coming to fruition, but mixed feelings at times. You stop and you look at it, but it's what's going to happen to countries that are landlocked who want to run the Olympics. Yeah, and you can't control all the contingents, and it's great to make these man-made waves, but after a while, it's different surfing in river surf, surfing in the Great Lakes, or coming out here in the ocean and surfing. There's completely different. And it's the same surfing here, and now me packing up and going to Indonesia for a month and surf. It's completely different type of surf, and that. So, but like I said, I have mixed feelings. I think it's great. The Olympics are only going to survive if they keep on bringing these innovative sports in, and it's mainly the young kids. What I'm seeing here, we never used to see young kids in the water. Around here now, we're seeing more and more young people that are second, third generation of parents who've surfed or grandparents who've surfed, and which is a great scene to see here. And it's not just in the summer. I'm seeing some of these younger kids out in the middle of the winter like that.
Wow.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
I don't know if their parents, maybe their parents are getting tired taking to the arena all the time.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Surfing, the other Canadian pastime that most people don't know about, even in Nova Scotia.
Well, I think in Nova Scotia it's changed a lot. 10 years, 15 years ago, you'd never see cars driving around town with surfboards on. Now that's all you see. And like I said, everybody's all, so we try to keep it quiet. We don't want anybody here, but all it takes is a person to look on the internet and look at the storms, and the day of the internet's opened everything up for everybody. And I don't know how many places I've been around the world where you're sitting with someone and said, "Oh, you're from Nova Scotia. I hear the surf's good there. I've seen some pictures. Is that really like that?" Yeah. So, I was sitting in Indonesia and Bali at Penang, and there was a guy there from Wales, and he knew the guy who owned Blackfoot tuna fish surfboards here in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
How small the world's that?
Seriously, yeah, that's wild.
And he just knew about the guy from being online looking at the surfboards.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So
how are you feeling about the talent that we do have going to the Olympics? Pete DeVries and Matea Olin.
I think well, Peter DeVries is unbelievable. Like even he'd come out for our pro contest out here, and it was always hands down. You knew he was going to always take it, but just the way he surfs, it's just great. Yeah. And it'll be good to see how he does in Japan. It'll be interesting to see how we do in that, how the team handles. Now I know the longboarder from Canada is pretty good. She's on the circuit. Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing. I think with the younger people starting in the sport here on the East Coast and on the West Coast, that we're going to start seeing more and more younger kids. And like I said, I know it's a hard time economically for corporations to sponsor people, but if someone's looking that way, there's a lot of young surf out here that are worth chasing. And, maybe we can get some of them on the circuit. I know a lot of the ones are past our prime, but there's a lot of young kids that we can get on the circuit.
For sure. So if you were to distill down your crowning achievement at Surf Canada, it sounds like to me it was sort of taking the money out of the picture and providing the money from the sponsors to get the skilled surfers where they need to be, not just the folks who had money in the bank and could afford to compete.
And it was and those ones that went to the contest, they were there to surf. Where these other people, looking at, I can go to Tahiti for cheap trip, and I'm going to be over there. Well, I can surf. I don't really care about the contest because we're going to get our ass handed to us. Type attitude. That was the mentality of the older people, the ones before me. Yeah, they would go to the worlds and that, but they weren't there to be serious.
They didn't have a high expectation.
No, they didn't. And that's why, like I said, when we first went, first couple of times, they're going, Canada? Hi, guys. Nice to meet you. But by the time, after 2 or 3 years, there's a crew of us, the president of France, the president of Great Britain, myself, the South African president, New Zealand and Australian, and the American guys, we're a group. We would talk about stuff, and we'd be back and forth in conversations a lot. Even the guy from Brazil became good friends with me.
Wow.
But that was the thing. They started taking Canada serious. And, and they listened to what we had to say. And that, it wasn't just, okay, we're surfers and we know what we're doing. They listened to us because, hey, they came to here, and we were one of the few countries that had all the major labels sponsoring the team. We had Billabong, we had O'Neill, we had Quicksilver, and we had Rip Curl. All donated, and that was a rarity in the industry.
Really?
You either had one sponsor or you had no sponsors type thing. And we had everybody. It was an agreement. Everybody was sponsored equally.
Yeah.
Now, if they were a team rider, the company would pay for them. But if not, they came out of our funds and that. But the clothing was sponsored and the goodwill from all the companies.
Now, in those early days, did you ever feel kind of like that John Candy movie, Cool Runnings, with the Jamaican bobsled team, like a little,
no, because, like everybody, especially go in some of these countries, I don't know I think it was in Portugal. Was it Portugal? Yeah, I think it was Portugal. We had a hockey stick. We used it as a flag bearer. Well, someone stole our hockey stick. And the Australians got up and said, no, we got to find his hockey stick. And that was a big joking thing.
Yeah.
And that was, at first they didn't think of us seriously. But then, after we started placing, like 1 year, Noel Cohen from out west did unbelievable at the Worlds in Portugal in 2008. And he even made Surfline that day on their picture because he caught a tube inside the point.
Oh, wow.
So, all of a sudden everybody started looking at Canada and saying, okay, these guys were in the mid 30s. Now they're in the mid 20s and they're keep on moving up the ladder.
Up, yeah.
We're taking them seriously. It's not like you go in, you do one heat, you go to the repertoire and you're done for the thing and you're still over there for another week and a half.
Yeah.
We were getting into 3 or 4 days, 5 days into the system.
Wow.
So, and all of a sudden people started taking notice of what we're doing.
Yeah. So seeing surfers from all around the world compete, what would you say sort of separates Canada from the rest? Is there some kind of characteristic that defines us as Canadian surfers in your mind?
Well, we're polite at times.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think the look on the face of a lot of these guys, especially the guys from South Africa or Australia, when you show them pictures of us getting out of the water in the middle of the winter with icicles hanging off, and they're going, no, that can't be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's what's going, and they look at you like you're crazy. Why would you? I said, buddy, if you go out and you see a 15-foot face, nice, right? Why wouldn't you get in the water?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just the look on the people's faces when you start showing the pictures and you're saying, yeah, what's the water temperature? Oh, 1 degree. What? and they're down there in Hyatt, New Zealand, and it was like 3 mil wetsuits, and they were complaining it was cold. And I said, "Oh yeah, that's a nice summer day for us."
Yeah, it definitely takes some bravery, or bearing the elements. It sort of takes a certain kind of person to even go out in the water.
Yeah,
as a Canadian surfer.
Yeah, and it's and the sport is growing. That's the thing. You stop and look at it, and how many people are in the sport now, and that. Excuse me. And like I said, you talk to people around the world, and I still keep in touch with a lot of the different presidents in different countries and see what's going on. Or if I'm somewhere and they're close by, we'll meet in that. Right. It's just to say, are you still surfing? Yeah. Here's the pictures. Oh, and then they see hurricanes come up here. I've got friends that live in New Zealand that are talking, or in Australia, and you're talking, and they're going, "What's it like in September?" I says, "Gotta come up." Oh, okay, that's it. We're gonna come up in September, October. I said, that's the best time you come, and you're sure to get some surf. Yeah. And then when you tell them how warm the water is, and they just look at you like you're crazy. Yeah, you can get in board shorts, and if it's a good hurricane season, you can get in board shorts here in Rash Guard. Yeah. And they shake their head. Yeah, it's almost as warm as Indo.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
So,
and you got a nice beard going there, so that can translate into a nice ice beard this time of year.
Yeah, that would. I started growing this about a year and a half ago. And then when we got in this lockdown with the pandemic, I said, I'm going to grow it till it ends when the WHO calls it over. And then I'm going to measure. And for every 1 inch there is, I'm donating $100 to a charity.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
So if it keeps, I figure it's going to be another year before I'm out. So it'll be about 9 or 10 inches. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah,
sure.
But yeah, no, it's funny. And it's funny because, this summer I have a red wetsuit, and I was out in the water, and someone gave me a lip. I kind of got snotty with them, and someone called me Grumpy Santa.
Okay.
so I guess it kind of stuck because I got hit in the fall. That's why it's a little getting too crowded. I got 7 stitches on the top of my head where I got hit by a fin. And someone said, "Yeah, Santa's mad. Someone hit him with the surfboard and cut his head open." And that's what happened.
Unreal.
So
when you were president of CSA, was that a paid position?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
But see, there's a lot. What I do is I work with corporations where I do with my real job. And it was just second nature to me, and that's how I just ran it as a business.
Oh, okay.
And you went after corporation, you got sponsorship, and you explained what you were going to do for them, and you did it. And like I said before, when you started going to a kid saying, "Listen, you're going to the world," and his parents are going, "Well, we can't afford it." No, it's all paid for. And they're looking on the face, and kid would never had a trip like this.
Yeah.
And that was the whole idea, because he was a good surfer, or she was a good surfer, but the parents couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't believe in. I believe if we can get enough corporate sponsors, you should send the best, not the richest.
Yeah. That is a nice legacy to leave behind, John. I declare you once again happy Santa.
Yeah.
So what kind of work is it that you do normally then?
I work in the forest industry.
Oh,
And
okay.
I work for a corporation called Timbermark Group, and I look after buying the commodities for their operation in the East Coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, the lumber industry is big out there. People don't, I did a summer of tree planting out there.
Okay.
And most people don't even realize there is tree planting on the East Coast.
No, there's a lot of business and there's a lot of family. It's a lot of old family businesses that are out here.
Yeah.
And that. So, but yeah, no, and it works out good for me because of the pandemic, I work from home. And if its waves are up, like I said, I got about 10 breaks. We're about 15 minutes from my house. So I can just disappear and go out for an afternoon surfing and back here, do some more work and then back out again for another surf.
Incredible. So when you were, overseeing things, you mentioned Nico Manos. Was Logan Landry coming up when you were around?
Yeah, Logan was involved. He was with the World Juniors, and then he went with us to Portugal with the World team and that. So yeah, there was them. There was Kim Childs was another one from the East Coast. Marty King.
Okay.
Trying to think of Brian Woody.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else was there. There was Isaac Norman. There's Taylor Connell, Sam McKinnon, a whole bunch of them that ended up going to the Worlds. Julie Baldwin was another one.
Okay. I'll have to chat with you after and find out who are some other really good candidates to have on the show that people would want to hear from out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I did some surfing out in Nova Scotia before. I've surfed at Martinique and Lordstown in about 2008. And so I'm really curious, John, where did your surfing journey begin? Did it spawn in Nova Scotia, or did you find surfing somewhere else?
I went to my dad's family who has family out in California. So I'd go out and meet with them and visit with them. And their one son, Peter, was into surfing off and on. So we went out to Stanton Beach, and that's where I first got my toes wet.
Okay.
And I
came
out here.
How old would you have been at that time?
That time I would have been about 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
And then I came out with one company out here on the East Coast, and I surfed, got transferred back to Toronto. They got bought out, and I came back out here with another company, small company, and haven't left. I've been here since 92.
Okay.
And left, went back to Ontario in 98, came back here in 99, haven't left since.
Okay.
And like I said, where can you complain? Where you're, I don't have to drive more than 15 minutes to a surf break.
Yeah.
So, you got the best of both worlds.
So you started surfing when you would visit your cousins in California?
Yeah, California, yeah.
So that must have been torture coming back to Canada and waiting an entire year before you got back in the waves?
Yeah, but that's about right.
Yeah. And so when did you realize, hey, I can surf in my own country?
Well, when I moved out here to the East Coast.
Okay.
See, I'm originally from Ontario. I moved out from the East Coast.
Okay. Whereabouts in Ontario are you from?
I'm originally from just outside Sault Ste. Marie, but I did my graduate degree at University of Guelph.
Okay. And did you know about the Great Lakes surfing back then or no?
Not really. I found out about Great Lakes surfing when I was out here. So these guys, they were saying they're surfing around Pickering, the nuclear plant.
Yeah, really.
And that, but no, and then like I said, I just got hooked, and then when I came back out, I got into surfing, and then I just fell into the position of helping with sands, and then ended up running sands and CSA at the same time.
Amazing.
And then like I said, we put on a contest with the Billabong group for about 5 years out here, 6 years. It's one of the biggest contests. We had at one point we had a $10,000 cash prize just for the pro side, and that's when Peter and all Wrath and all the brew waters would all come out from the West Coast out to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And those were the events where we would have 120 people signed up for the contest. We had one of the biggest nightclubs in Halifax behind us, and we'd have a big party downtown and everything. And we even had one year we had Billabong's bus here.
Right super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was different.
And I was talking to Scotty Sharon a couple of weeks ago, and I think you guys also had, what was it, the Quicksilver boat or something?
Oh, they had the Quicksilver biplane here.
Oh, biplane. Okay.
The water plane that was here one time.
Okay, right
And
on.
that was going up and down the coast.
Now, when you're talking about surfing on the East Coast, you're talking a lot in past tense. So has the glory days of surfing the East Coast come and gone, or where is the status of that? Is it?
Well, I still surf, but I'm not as into it. I think because I've got spoiled because I travel. I've been to, like I said, every 3 years I disappear to Bali for almost a month.
Nice.
I go to Penang, and the place I stay there, and they just cater to me.
Wow.
And I see the whole place. Like this year, November just passed. I was supposed to be in Sri Lanka for the month of November, but due to the pandemic, I had to cancel that trip.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And like I said, when you get up in the morning in the wintertime, and you look outside and there's frost and it's cold, and you're going, I gotta put on the wetsuit before I leave the house. I get out, damn, it's cold. Well, I can wait to the summer, wait to the summer. Where I said, I can remember the one time I got out in the middle of the winter, I was surfing. I think that with the wind chill, it was minus 35 and the water was cold. And I remember getting out, there's big ice pellets on the back of my suit. I was there for 45 minutes.
Wow.
You think I'm going out there today?
No.
I think it's not saying the novelty's worn off. I still love getting in the water. I like surfing.
Yeah.
I surf longboard now. I still got short boards. I use them once in a while, but more to longboard. But like I said, I was going to Costa Rica, or I was going to Indonesia, or I was going somewhere warm.
Wow.
And you go away for a month and you work it so when you come back, okay, yeah, you're still in your winter suit, but it's not as cold. Mm-hmm. The water's starting to warm up, and so you get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been in the water, like I said, in January. I haven't been out in February yet, but I will get in. I like to get in at least once or twice during the winter months, each month.
Nice.
Just to say I got wet. Yeah. And it's like, God, and instead of going for a month, I'm going for 2 months.
Wow. Yeah. Keep your status. So you mentioned, that the future is really the kids. There's a lot of talent when it comes to the youth. So how is Nova Scotia creating that talent pool? I mean, getting into surfing is not as commonplace as, like you already mentioned, getting into hockey or basketball. How are you guys spreading the sport out there?
Well, what we're doing is I got involved with a group. It's called Lordstown Surf Association. They're just looking after preservation of the Lordstown beach and that. But last summer we ran a contest for the kids, and it was anybody could get in. And some of the kids like 2 or 3 years old out there.
Wow.
Their parents, and if they didn't have boats, we would have boards there, and it was more a family oriented thing. And there were some kids there. There were grandparents, and their parents are surfers, and their kids are surfing now. And that was the whole idea, to get it back to a community atmosphere. Like when I ran it, I did run big contests, and it was flash and bang and, make everybody happy and big prizes. Everybody walked away. Like, who could complain when you ran one of the junior class for the men, and you walked away with a brand new surfboard? Or a trip away to Costa Rica, or $5,000 cash.
Wow.
This was the things. But now we're trying to get the younger kids, and with them kids understand the sport and that. And I don't know how many kids that I've seen out there with the parents out there in the water, and they're having fun. And that's the whole idea. If you can get them in there and they're having fun, because sport is too competitive, be it hockey, be it baseball, be it whatever. And some of these kids are being forced into some of these sports is that they don't want it because their mom or dad didn't make it to the pros, so they're living through their kids. I hate to say this. Where surfing is, I don't know, more harmonical or more enjoyable. You just get out and enjoy the thing. If you want to get.
And it's independent. You can do it at your own speed. You don't have to rely on a team of other people.
And like I said, what I like about it, and it's not done as much as it used to be, was Friday night you go out and surf. Everybody get out of the water in the parking lot. Out come the cooler. Everybody sit around and have a beer, shoot the shit for a half hour.
Yep.
We don't see that as much as we used to, but that was a fun thing. That's why you look forward to a Friday night at the beach, eh?
Yeah.
It might have been mediocre surf, but hey, everybody hung around and had a great visit for an hour or two.
Yeah.
afterwards. And that was the whole idea. Like, that's why we did that contest down the South Shore. I wanted to get everybody out because there was hostilities, the county, the people on the beach, the people in the city, people down the South Shore were all, everybody was at each other's throat. Got them all in one area, let them talk out. And, it was a great thing. And it got to the point where we ran that contest 3 years in a row. And it was the best contest because everybody liked to get away for the weekend. Everybody looked forward to that one contest every year down the shore, South Shore. The surfers down the South Shore liked it because they didn't have to drive up here for a contest. And everybody, by the time, everybody was friends. Some people didn't know each other in the water, but after that time, they knew each other. You'd see them. You see friendships develop.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, it's a small enough province as it is, and then you stick in a niche sport like that. It's nice to hear that community came together through that.
Yeah. And then, you stop and you figure out now how many kids are in university that have come here because they've heard you can surf. And they're on the floor, and there's about 3 or 4 of their friends on the floor with them. And next thing you know, on Saturday, they come out. And out of those 3 or 4, maybe 1 or 2 will pick up the sport seriously. It just keeps on mushrooming. And that's the thing is, I can remember getting in the water. There's one place we surf, it's called the Reef. I can remember getting in, and you'd be bitching and complaining, there's 15 people in. I got out one time and I counted 65 people in the water. And I look at it and I'm going, Lower Trussels. But at least the people down at Lower Trussels know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Your head and dying.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing. It's we got to educate the kids, and we got to educate everybody about how to surf and the etiquette and that. But, it's going to grow. And as more and more people realize that, and especially with the pandemic, a lot of people couldn't travel out of the province of Nova Scotia this summer. So what do? You go to the beach, excuse me, and you see some people surfing. Well, what the heck? We'll try it. They try it. Their kids try it, and they got hooked on it.
Yeah.
Actually, parents are saying, what are you doing? Let's go out to the beach for the weekend. So that's what they do. They drive out to the beach.
Yeah, a lot more people getting involved this year from sticking around. So now the consistency of waves on the East Coast, I mean, how does that compare to a place like Tofino? I mean, anytime I go to Tofino, I can pick a beach and there's nice waves.
It's hard. Like, we can have surf here and then we can go flat.
Okay.
I can remember one summer, the month of July, I think there was the whole month, I think there was 4 days that we didn't have surf.
Oh, wow.
And every day you'd phone up to check the wave report, and they're going, yeah, wave. And one day you phone up and they said, what's it? No, it's flat. Oh, thank God. You're not the only one saying that. Because it was every night. You'd go out after work and you surf, eh?
Yeah.
But like I said, here, you look at Magic Seaweed and you look at surf forecasting, either they're a day early or a day late, or they're too high or too low, So you just got to play it. You got to get used to it. And then, like I said, I don't know how many times I've got out where I've been in the ocean before the sun's even broken over the horizon, watch a beautiful sunrise, surf for about another half hour, an hour, and all of a sudden the morning crew I call, start pulling in, getting in the water, and you say, see ya, I'm gone. Go home, and you come back out around 4:30, 5 o'clock, they're all burnt out, and everybody's getting out of the water, and you got the place to yourself again.
Wow, so you do some dawn patrol and then come back and pick up the scraps later.
Do an afternoon cleanup.
Amazing. So, John, are you feeling okay? You got a cough there. You don't
a little bit. I don't talk that much. That's why.
Okay. What are your hopes for Canadian surfing? Where would you like to see it go and transform into?
It'd be nice to see it. We follow the same route as us Canadian snowboards. At the Olympics, we made a name for ourselves. How many people thought we could rank in the Canadian snowboards? We've done that.
Yeah.
I think we got a long way to go. When you start and you look at it, you're in a lineup and there's a kid about 5 years old and he's just dropping down the face of the wave, and you're at airport left in Indonesia and the face is about 15 to 16 feet high and he's just whipping down the face, and you're going, okay, yep. Wow. I'm 35 or 40 years too old for that. Yeah. But that's the thing. The more younger kids we get into the sport, the better chances we're going to have. And like I said, if you stop and look at it, if we weren't 1 or 2 in hockey, I'd be upset. Surfing, if we're in the top 15 in the world, I'm happy.
Wow. Okay.
Truthfully, you stop and look, we're not the Kelly Slaters of the world. And the only way someone's going to be good is, I hate to say it, is move away from here, go south.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, passport convenience.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, the more board time, the better. On board time, yeah.
And the better chances of getting sponsored, get caught by a sponsor and get sponsorship. Because, it's kind of hard when you phone up a guy and say, listen, I need a corporate sponsor. What's the sport? Surfing. What? You try to explain to him, he goes, I thought it was hockey. No, it's a surf. But like I said, when we had sponsorship, we had Madison. It was courtesy of Logan and Andrew's dad. He was involved in Madison.
Oh, wow.
He opened the door for us, and we got Master for 2 years, corporate sponsor. and now, like I said, I pitched an idea for a commercial, and that was back in 2005. And I laugh now because you see a commercial and they're talking about advertising cars with surfers.
Wow.
So we're a little ahead of our time at that time, I think.
I guess, yeah. Well, I was talking to Eddie Castillo. He's one of the river surfers from out in Alberta who's made a name for himself, and he's actually been featured in a travel to Alberta commercial, surfing on the river. So,
well, see, it's a good
advertisement.
It's a good advertisement. Like I said, Tourism Nova Scotia, any video or any advertisement you see, it doesn't matter if you're in the States, because I've talked to relatives down in the States. They say, oh, you guys surf in Nova Scotia. We saw it on the video. I said, well, Tourism Nova Scotia. And even around the world, or you got on Air Canada when you're doing a flight over to Heathrow. The Air Canada was advertised in Halifax, and they showed surfing. So there's Air Canada on an international flight.
Now, whenever I think East Coast surfing in Canada, I'm always thinking Nova Scotia. But there must be a scene of some kind in Newfoundland, maybe PEI in New Brunswick?
Not in PEI, but Newfoundland,
no?
yes.
Okay, yes, Newfoundland.
And around St. John's, down in New Brunswick area.
Yep.
Because out in the Bay of Fundy, they get a little bit of surf.
Yeah.
But PEI, no. Nova Scotia, and it's really starting to pick up down in Yarmouth area. Down that way, too, at the end of the province.
Yep.
But Cape Breton has a good amount of surf, and the Avalon Peninsula off St. John, Witless Bay, Carbonear, all that area.
Awesome.
So, and you stop and you look at the storms that we're getting. If a hurricane stops about 400 miles offshore around Sable Island, excuse me, and spins for a day or two, we're gonna have 4 or 5 days of solid surf here.
Wow. Yeah.
And
you're almost, Nova Scotia is almost an island, so you're surrounded by water pretty much everywhere.
Pretty well.
So, yeah, you could kind of follow the coast until you find waves, I suppose.
Well, there's waves all over the place, and because of the Nova Scotia, it's mostly point breaks, where you go to a lot of these places that you did the world contest, like in Piha, it was a beach break, and so when people start surfing point breaks, it's different. It's a different type of surf.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to stop and you look at how the province is set up, all the points we got. But the problem is a lot of the points are private now.
Oh, okay.
So,
now, you mentioned the Lordstown organization. I've seen online, there seems to be a few different East Coast surfing clubs or associations. I know there's the ESA.
Yeah.
There's this Lordstown group you're talking about.
Yep.
So how do all those groups play into the bigger surf scene? What are their responsibilities?
Well, the Lordstown Surf Association, what they want to do is they wanted to look back after, because they were figuring that the Lordstown beach was getting neglected.
Okay.
And so by Sands and by everybody else, that was their feeling. So they set this group up, but they wanted to get back to the community. And that was the whole thing. We wanted to get back. And then on Lordstown, there was a shed there. So we worked with everybody to get that repainted, even though the province is neglected. And, capital, there's no capital there. There's some other issues out at Lordstown that, the group wanted to get together as a thing to promote Lordstown. And that was the whole idea of it. And like I said, we're running a contest. We do beach cleanups, stuff like that. And we get the community involved. And it's just not, we're doing this, or these are our goals. We're open to everybody, and anybody who wants to get involved, they come and say, okay, I want to do this. We had someone approach us about planting trees on the bluff because the bluff is starting to deteriorate. And so we said, yeah, it's a great idea. Well, everybody's willing to work with it, but let's check with the government, Minister of Natural Resources, if we can do it. Go through the legwork and see if it's there. But these are community ideas people are throwing at us. And let's do it as a group.
Okay.
And that's the whole idea. It's a cooperative more than anything.
So you mentioned that you were the grumpy Santa the one day out on the waves. Is there a sense of localism in Nova Scotia, or is it pretty friendly out there?
There is, and there isn't. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
There is breaks where, because someone sees a bunch of people surfing at the point and they know the road is private, there's a reason why that road is private. It doesn't mean that you should be able to go out and walk on the water line to use that person at that point. Yeah, the points are open to public, but you got to be respectful. And that's why there's some breaks around here that I will only go if I'm by myself. I won't take someone with me, because what happens is, excuse me, if I take someone and next time they go and I'm not with them and they take two other people and next thing I know, this break is no longer a private break or a quiet break. No one knows about it. It's 80 other people out there. And when you got something that you want to keep private, that's the thing. And that's where the idea of localism coming out. And then this summer we had a little bit of an issue here where people were coming out of province and not quarantined.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And it got a little ugly. And legitimately, the people around here were right. You know, the person was getting snotty. And, you know, got to remember, if you're not from Nova Scotia, don't come in and tell us how to surf or be respectful of everybody. If you're respectful, you're going to be accepted. Well, as soon as you get snotty or get everybody's fur up in the back, you're in trouble. Yeah. And that's all we're saying is, you know, that's the type of localism there is.
Because you guys had checkpoints coming into the province, right?
Yeah, we had checkpoints, but you're supposed to self-regulate. You're supposed to say, I'm quarantined at this address. Well, the people had rented a place on the break in the beach, by the beach, and they figured because they were there, they can go out and surf.
I see.
And they could go here and they could go there. No, you're not supposed to self-quarantine. And that was where they came into one of these breaks that was semi-private or somewhat, not many people knew about it. And they got into a pushy match with some people, not pushing, but, you know, back and forth, verbal volleys back and forth. And that's when it got ugly.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you get localism. It's where people see something, they think, oh, because they're out there surfing, even though there's no trespassing signs all down that guy's road, should I be able to go out and surf that spot? And that's where we run into a problem where people are not thinking about it, or they run across or they go across a person's property and get mouthy with a person, and maybe that person was nice enough to let us use his property, but this person got into a pissing match or left his garbage or whatever. Problem is, he's painted us all with one brush, and that owner's going to say, no, that property's closed now. Yeah. So just be respectful of the people that own the property. And like I said, that's the biggest problem. And if they are respectful, and, you know, if someone says, listen, this is not a break for you, say thank you, grab your board, leave. There's other breaks around the province. But when you get in a pissy match with someone, and who is a local, lives there, that doesn't sit well. That's where you get your localism.
Yeah. So generally the spots that are, you know, very publicized are usually pretty good and welcoming to surf. Okay.
Yeah, pretty well. There's a lot of the breaks, but like I say, there's some spots that you'll drive along and all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of cars parked there. And you're saying, well, if there's cars there, there's something there. And you walk over and you see there's a break, but you see all these no trespassing signs or respect the owner's property or something. There's a reason why there's signs there. You know, he might be the guy owns the property, says, listen, I know you because you're so-and-so and I've known you for years. You're allowed to surf here. I don't know you. Why should you be allowed to surf if it's his property? I mean, he's inviting you onto his property to go use this thing. And that's where we run into problems anywhere. And it's not just here, it's anywhere in the world. You'll run into problems where, you know, you take it for granted that this property has always been open, but as more and more of the property being sold, and people are taking it over, not as friendly or not as accommodating, as we should say.
Yeah.
And that.
Because the water is for everybody, but the access is not necessarily. Yeah.
No, and that's what you got to be careful about. And that's, like I said, that's where I think we got our biggest problems, where a lot of localism starts, is where people come into an area, take it over or try to take it over, leave their garbage around, or getting into a verbal match out in the water with someone. And the guy's a local, one of the legends here, and one of the guys have been here from day one, and you pissed him off, or you got into it. Well, the rest of the people in that pod that are there surfing with him are not going to be in your favor.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. You know, and the worst part is it could be just one person or one group of guys in a car, and they got an out of province license plate. Everybody's painted with that brush, unfortunately. And that's the baddest problem, I find.
Yeah, and I'm going to guess that license plate province starts with an O and ends with an O.
No.
No? Oh, okay. Well, hey, one for Ontario then. Score one for Ontario.
It's the province.
Oh, okay.
No, and that's the majority of the problems is when they come down, they figure, you know. And then, you know, we have Americans that come up here during the hurricane season when they were allowed to come up, and they were the most friendly people. And some of them still come back, and some of them, everybody's in contact with half a dozen of them that are good friends now.
Yeah,
because they came and they respect, and you don't come in and dictate. That's the biggest problem we have.
So, do you cross the border much into Maine or anything for surf?
No.
You stick to the Canadian waves.
Canadian and warm water, Caribbean, Pacific side, or Indonesia, or New Zealand.
Yeah. So you came here in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So how have you seen surfing? You've talked a lot about, you know, the participants and the surfers themselves, but what about the industry itself? I'm going to guess there was a limited number of shops in the late 90s.
There still is a limited number of shops, and it's you know, it's a tight, small business because there's not many people. Like, if a lot of people secondhand equipment and stuff like that. We do have some good shapers. Black Tuna is one.
Okay.
Kevin Julian for longboards is unbelievable. These are ones that are starting to shape. Scott Forbes is another former shaper. He does the odd board during pandemic.
Okay.
These guys are making great boards, and that's something that we didn't have here before.
Okay.
So, you know, that industry is growing, but the stores are a struggle. And like anything, if you can order it online and you're looking at the price, the problem is you order it online, and that hurts not just the rep who's selling that line to the store, it's the stores that are hurting too.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. We just all had a new store open up, Lordstown Surf Company, which I hope they do very well. But, you know, we used to have 4 or 5 stores in Halifax that were into surf. We're down to 2 now. You know,
wow.
But it's all online. You know, you can go online, you can order a board or a wetsuit, have it here a week later. You know, so and that's what a lot of people look at it. You know, do I pay X number of dollars at the store, or do I pay a little less for the wetsuit? And I'm ordering it online. All right, and I don't care if it's last year's model. I might get it even cheaper, and that's what no one cares. No one looks at. I don't want, you know, like going downhill skiing, you got to have the best skis, the brightest snowshoe that week. Oh, next week is a different style. I'll go out and buy the new suit. Not here. You're using the same wetsuit and stuff like that.
Well, and when I do talk to shop owners right now with COVID, it sounds like getting product in is a big problem as well, because most of it is international.
Well, you stop and figure all wetsuits are made in one plant in Indonesia. Okay. They make Quicksilver for a couple of weeks. They go to Billabong. They keep on bouncing from different company to different company. Well, they were shut down for how long?
Yeah.
And at the same time, last year, I know the rep down here, he said the guy that he gets his product out of XL Suits and from out west had a warehouse full of stuff. And then when everything started shutting down, he was getting paranoid. Well, the guy has nothing. I was looking at trying to get a winter wetsuit from him. He says, won't have it to the spring. Well, winter's over, so there's a shortage, and it's the same as surfboards, wetsuits, anything. Everything's in short supply until the supply chains open up and start releasing servicing. And not to being ignorant or anything, but if a wetsuit or one of the big surf companies have so many wetsuits to supply, and they got so many, where are they going to send them? They're going to send so many to Europe, where their main market is. They're going to send so many to the States, and maybe Australia and New Zealand. Do you think Canada's going to get a large chunk? No. They're going to get a couple, you know, and the sizes that don't sell, they'll send them up here. But that's a problem. It's the supply and demand right now.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, what works out good is because of the surfboard guys that are shaping and glassing here, we're not being held hostage to the Americans with the exchange rate and all the duties and that on boards.
Yeah.
So
that's great. And that new shop you're talking about, I've seen them online. Wow, that is a very nice looking. They've done a good job with the exterior and inside. Wow, yeah.
And it's a good added addition. It's heading out towards Lordstown Beach, right on the road. You're going to get the clientele, and they do run the East Coast Surf School out the Lordstown, one of the bigger runners for surf schools out there. But I hope they do well, and I go out there and support them whenever I can.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing, and like I said, it's supply and demand now. So if you can't get wetsuits and that, but at the same time, we're not being held hostage for boards. We got some of the, like I said, some of the best shapers here now on the East Coast.
So awesome. Now, earlier in our conversation, you mentioned you spent an evening with Robert August.
What happened was we went down for the Worlds, and had it set up that we were staying at his house, and he had the team from El Salvador, I think, there, Honduras, one of those countries, also staying in the house. So the house was really packed. And we stayed there a night and a half, and then we ended up, someone knew a lady had owned the surf museum and had a house there. She let us, all we had to pay was cleaning fee, so, which wasn't much. But we used Robert August's house one night and a half. But yeah, it was interesting.
Amazing.
We stayed at Robert August's house, and everybody's looking
at
it. Yeah.
Was there some really awesome boards on the wall?
Yeah.
Art,
put it this way. I did not have a surfboard when I went down there, and I asked Robert if I could borrow one of his boards. He said, "Oh, take that white and red one out there." It was an Al Merrick. Took it out, paddled out, and caught a couple nice waves with that. Flipped it over to my buddy Robert. Happy 50th, your buddy Al.
Wow.
It was his birthday board. I was looking back. He said, no, that's what it's there for, to surf. I'm going, holy.
Wow. Yeah, don't ding that one up.
No, but yeah, that he had all the boards there, and he was, at that time, he was there for the day and a half, but he was leaving that night. The night we were still there, he was leaving because he was going down to Costa Rica, to his place down in Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
But yeah, it was interesting to meet him and, talking to different people down there.
Yeah, that's a cool brush with, a surfing icon. Wow.
Yeah. And then I keep in touch with his son, Sam, right now, quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
And that, yeah.
When I was there, I was speaking with someone at the restaurant, and he was mentioning that there's a restaurant there that, for her charity to give back, she provides all free breakfast for the young group of surfers, because it's like their football down there. Like, it's all about,
Well, there's one of the guys we hung around with, Billy Hopkins, I think Hopkins is his name. His son was in high school at that time, and he had to be in the water every morning from 6 to 10 every morning. That was part of one of his credits. He was on the surf team, Huntington Beach surf team.
Yeah.
Huntington High School surf team.
Man, credits for surfing. Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was, but that was an eye opener, because we got to meet people. You got to understand. And like I said, I built a very close friendship with a lot of the world presidents from all over the world, and we'd always talk, and sometimes you didn't understand everything they were saying, whatever language, but they were friends. And every year, as soon as you walk into the hotel, the host hotel, and as soon as they see you, back over, carrying on like it was yesterday.
Amazing,
we were talking about.
Yeah. So you mentioned how Canada was sort of seen as this fringe country in surfing. Yeah. Who are some of the other countries that even you were sort of shocked to see on the world stage for surfing?
Well, Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you stop, you look at Ireland. At that time, UAE, United Emirates, had just joined. Kuwait was part of it. Israel had a team.
Oh, wow, okay.
These were the interesting things. And you figure the Australia, New Zealand, it was always between Australia and US and France who was going to win the world. It was always competition, eh? But some of the other countries, like Germany, would have a team there. Sweden would have a team. Norway, because maybe it was a passport of convenience, but the person lived somewhere else. But that was the thing. Or Papua New Guinea. Some of these countries, there's third world countries, you look at them, but you know, they just blew your mind, the
Yeah.
body. We're in New Zealand. I was there with Jacob Aubrey for the World Juniors. And we're down at Raglan surfing, and he goes to me, he says, "That girl next to us, you know who that is?" And I look over, I'm not sure. Sophie Milanovic, the Peruvian surfer, the world
Oh,
surfer.
wow. Yeah, nice.
And he says, I said to her, I says, "Hey, my friend's a fan of yours, but he's trying to ask you for his autograph." So she talked to him and that, but you know, it's just the look on his face. He was just a junior, young kid, and he's looking at this world surfer.
Yeah.
And that. Or being at the Worlds and meeting Bongo Perkins. You know,
Incredible. Yeah.
some of these names, and I remember being in New Zealand and everybody's talking to the different pros they had there from at that time that was under Quicksilver. And the owner of Quicksilver was there, and I'd rather talk to him because of his business. I said, "I saw you on CNBC last week, and we're talking," and he's laughing.
Wow.
He says, "Usually, all the people wants to hang around with the surfers." I said, "You're a businessman. I like you."
Yeah, right on. You'd learn a thing or two, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in Canada's, shorter time in surfing, I guess you could say, if we were to have a surfing Hall of Fame, who would you nominate for the first class in surfing, Canadian surfing history?
I would nominate. There's a crew here. I call them the grandfathers of surfers. I think it would be like Paul Camilleri. That's choice. Rob Spicer, Ian McDonald, Jim Ledbetter. These were the guys that started the surfing here in Nova Scotia. You know, there were some other people earlier than them, but they were the ones that started. And you know, you listen to some of the stories how they used to go out and surf, and you know, it was just unbelievable what they would ride with surfboards and that. That's a history. Like Paul Camilleri is originally from Australia. He moved here. He came over here and he's been here for all his life, and his grandkids are surfing. So there's generations.
Yeah, amazing.
That's where I call the history. Okay. You almost have to have the founding fathers, and then that'd be the crew from here. There is some crew out on the West Coast, but you know, the majority, if you stop, you look at it, the surfing, even though that might be more noticeable or more talked about on the West Coast, there's a longer history here on the East Coast than on the West Coast with surf. We started in the early 50s, mid 50s. So, and then you saw those were the Americans coming up here and surfing in the winter, in the summertime and that. But then you got people like Leslie Choice and like Paul Camilleri and that the grandfathers, I call them.
So these guys that you're mentioning right now, are they featured in a movie called Breaking the Ice? Because I've been told to watch this movie.
Breaking the Ice was not that. The I'm trying to think. Breaking the Ice, if I'm not mistaken, was about the Red Bull contest.
Okay.
And Red Bull, they ran that in the middle of the winter here.
Okay.
That. But there is another one. There's one called Gorillas in the Fog.
Gorillas in the Fog?
Gorillas in the Fog. That's the one done by Pat Bannister out of here. Now that's a good movie. And that might give you a little more history on the surfing there. That's
okay, excellent.
But yeah, that was like there's been talk about remodeling or rebuilding the place out of Lordstown, the shed or the building where we want to have it handicapped where they can go up on a deck and look out at the ocean over the dunes and that. But we also like to have a Hall of Fame there, or a history of Canadian surfing Hall of Fame or history, and that's where we'd like to put a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff around. And
that sounds like a good next project for you, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. Something down the road keeps you out of trouble.
I love it. Yeah. Hey, I saw a little bit of ink on your arm there. Looks like some cool.
This is all the places I've surfed around the world.
Really? Let me see some of that sleeve.
Goes all shit. Oops.
Oh wow, you got all the artwork. Oh man, incredible.
It goes.
So different patterns and designs.
Yeah, what happened was every time I went away on a surf trip, you know, it's always nice to get a picture and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I wanted something different. So what I do is I pick up a piece of native work, come back here, and I had a guy that's been doing my work for the last 30 some years, Chris Mossy.
Okay. Yep.
I give him the piece. He'd look at the piece and he'd go, give me a week. And he'd call me up a week later. He says, come on down the shop. He says, I'm going to put it here, and here's how I'm going to lay it out. And he'd lay it out. Every piece joins together. It almost looks like one piece.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But yeah, no, everything. Like I said, there's Indonesia, there's Cook Islands, there's Métis, everything.
Wow, yeah, because it looks very symmetrical from how I'm seeing it. But I suppose if you laser in, there's some very different contrasting styles.
The ferns.
Yeah.
And like I said, different things. He's had fun. He likes he just said, where's you traveling this year? That's all he says.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have fun then.
Yeah. You're staying home.
Yeah, but he's done all my work for me. No, I'm really impressed with his work. And like I said, it's been 30 years of surfing, traveling.
Right on. So what would life have been without surfing?
Bored.
Yeah.
I think so. I thought I had fun, and I got to travel, and I got to meet friends, and got to see a lot of the world.
Yeah.
How many people can say they've gone away because they got to see some of the best surf breaks? Whenever they were at a world contest, the best breaks in that country were closed to the public. They're only open to us for the contest and the surfers to use. So we're at Piha. You're surfing there. No one else could surf it. Or down in Costa de Capra in Peru, surfing the break just below Lima.
Wow.
Or Costa de Capra in Portugal, or Bay of Biscayne in France.
Wow. I know who to talk to when I want to travel. Sounds like you know the places to go.
Yeah, and that. But like I said, I got to surf Raglan's. I enjoyed myself.
Wow.
And that. So
will you ever stop surfing?
No, I'll be. I said because of the pandemic, 63 is 2023 is the year I think I'm going to be traveling, and I'll be 61.
Okay.
So I'll be going back to Indo, to Bali.
So you still got a long surfing, a lot of surfing ahead of you.
Yeah, that's right. Get at heart. Get at heart.
Nice. So before I let you go, John, if people want to connect with you or learn more about your involvement in surfing, are you available somewhere online for people, or? Not
really. They can get a hold of me on Lordstown Surf Association there.
Okay.
But really, I'm just kind of different. I'm kind of all over the place.
Look for them in the water.
Yeah.
But your big involvement these days is with the Lordstown
Surf Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we can put that website up on the notes here for people.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. Well, hey, John, I love talking to you. I feel like I just really, you uncovered a big piece of East Coast surfing history for me, which I was not aware of. And the request from the East Coast folks has been to talk to, what they've coined as the legends. So I think that you fall into that category, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Filling me in. So
hopefully we'll see you out here in the water sometime.
I will definitely take you up on that. When you guys extend your bubble a little bit and you let us back in, I will be there. And I'd like to see some of those spots with you, my friend.
Okay, we'll look after you then.
Nice, perfect. But in the meantime, John, I want you to stay stoked.
I always do.
Right on.